You look so little and I look so big.
Well, that's just the angle, man.
Want you to look big. No.
Hey, I feel like I look big enough, okay? But this show is not about our egos. I mean, I
know.
don't. At least we're going to try.
But
not
we're
to make
recording.
Of course, that's exactly the point. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Okay, the microphone needs to be in the middle. Okay, right here. There we go. Okay, because then that way you're bigger, but I'm louder. See, so.
That's great. Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
So here we are, and this is true, honest, real as it gets, because we're not going to edit anything. So what I want to do now is just kind of set the intention. What we're hoping is that you'll find some healing, you'll find some confirmation of the things that you're doing well, that you'll have some support for the things that you're trying to improve upon, and that hopefully this video will help you. You can share it, it'll help others, and then of course, as part of that intention, we'd also like your feedback so that we can improve. So, having said that, I think we're going to continue with relationship stuff because we've already had some questions, right?
Yes, one of our viewers asked a question. We were talking about the drip, drip, drip of waiting for affection and that sort of waiting for shows of love. Sorry. Yeah, ego get in the way. But anyway, and I thought that was a good question. The question is, well, what's next? And what that brought to my mind was the topic of how do you know when to end a relationship?
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a very tough one because you don't want to do anything premature, and I think probably a lot of people are like us. They want to hold on, and sometimes you hold on for too long. And I guess I would probably just put out there that most people don't let go too soon. I think we probably hold on longer than we should, maybe. So at least that's the case with us.
That has certainly been my experience.
But yeah, that's a tough one, and I think ultimately, based on the question that was asked, my answer would be this: you have to put yourself first, and I don't mean to be selfish. I don't mean some of those things people always say, well, it's selfish to think of yourself first. It's selfish to do these things for yourself. And it's not. You have to take care of yourself. And you've probably heard it say that if you can't love yourself, how can you love anyone else?
Yeah.
And that self-love is really, really important, not only in life, because you do have to accept yourself the way that you are. But it's really important in a relationship, because if you're upset about your weight or your looks or your, yelling, which was a problem that I used to have, or any number of things, if you don't like those things, then how can your partner like those things, or how can you expect your partner to like those things, And weight and issues like that, I think it's very easy for a partner to say, I love you just the way you are, but for you to feel not so good about that yourself. But still,
I don't have that problem.
Right, I know. Well, I am bigger than you, so.
Hey,
I have that problem a little bit.
You're powerful, that's all.
That's right, I'm more powerful. There's more of me to love.
That's right.
But anyway, so I think those things are really important, and one of the things that I want to stress is that you can't be selfish if you're trying to love and accept yourself and make yourself the best person that you can be. That's not selfish. So
I like that. And I want to take just a second here just to remind our viewers that we don't have all the answers, and we're not claiming to have all the answers by any means. All we're doing is sort of sharing our thoughts with you all, and most of the time our conversations lead to nothing but more questions, and if that's what's happening with you, great, welcome to the club. So we're just kind of sharing our journey to trying to find answers with you. So that being said, I was thinking about that question, that she sent to us, like what's next, and how do you know? For me anyway, it kind of hits home. I'm like, how do you know when to end a relationship? And well, the short answer is, well, I don't know, because that's a very personal thing. That's specific to each person's situation. But all I can do is kind of share what I've been through and what's come to me. I guess just some basic things. One is like, if I'm not sure, then maybe it's not time yet. And another thing is like, even if the relationship is not perfect or I'm having a hard time with it, I'm still maybe there's still something that I've got to learn from it.
It's that mirror.
Yeah.
It's the mirror. If they're mirroring something in you that's not working or that you don't like,
Yeah.
that could be an indication of something that you need to work on.
Could be. And
not always, but it could be.
Definitely. And I've never done well with people telling me what to do.
Yeah, right.
Like, oh, you should get away from her, or you should, be with her, or stay, or go. No, no, no. I just don't do well with that, and I think most of us don't. I mean, some of us like to tell other people what they should be doing, but then when we get it the other way around, we're like, eh.
Right.
And I'm like that. I try not to tell other people what to do. But I think that whatever feels right for you at the time, only you can decide that. Only you know when it's time to leave, when it's time to stay, what to do in reaction if your partner tells you she or he wants to leave. I mean, only you know when it's right to initiate the ending of a relationship, and only you can decide how to deal with it if the relationship is ended for you.
And they say with your intuition and your spirituality or your religion or your beliefs or whatever it is that you fall back on, your faith, your beliefs, whatever, they say to picture it both ways and see which one feels better. And usually that's the right one. And so if you can, picture out a month or 2 months or even 10 years, picture yourself with that person. How does that feel? How does that resonate within you? And what does that feel like? Does it feel very confining, very restrictive, very much like you're being quashed? You're just not growing. You're not able to be who you really are. Then that's probably not going to happen. It's probably not supposed to. But if you can picture yourself the other way, 10 years out, and you're not with that person anymore, and that feels good, it feels freeing, it feels like a release, it feels, fresh and new, and not like new as in getting into a new relationship, but new as in, I can be me.
Yeah.
Like that sigh of, oh, thank God, finally I'm free from this, whatever it is. And then that's probably the correct path. And I know that you and I have started to do some of those things and look at both ways.
Yeah.
How does it feel this way and how does it feel that way? And really use your intuition and tap into that. And, you can pray, you can meditate, you can, ask spirit, you can do any of those things, whatever it is that you do.
Absolutely.
And, but that I think helps to kind of visualize out a little ways and visualize both scenarios and see which one feels right. And a lot of times, a lot of decisions can be made that way. Which one feels right? Which one feels better? So.
And that's great advice, and I mean, it really is. And I personally am struggling with such a decision right now. It's without going into too many personal details, I don't know what to do, and I'll just share with you some more wisdom from Byron Katie that helped me, and that's kind of recognizing the reality of the person who you're with.
Yeah. She always brings in that damn reality.
Reality.
God. Why do we have to look at reality? It makes us uncomfortable. We start to squirm.
Disney when you need them.
I know.
Jeez.
I want a fairy tale.
Man. Me too. Who doesn't want a fairy tale?
Really, I just want to carry a sword and kill.
Well, we won't get into that.
We won't
but
go there.
even lesbians love the fairy tale Disney stories.
That's
so
right.
They just need to have one for us. Okay. No, but one of the things that's been hard for me is I want my person I'm with to accept me for me, 100% totally for me. Am I willing to accept them for them, or do I want to change them? Well, guilty as charged. I have worked extraordinarily hard trying to change the person that I'm with, to mold them into what I thought they should be, and sometimes at the same time they were trying to do the same thing with me. I've learned that is futile. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of energy. I can't change anyone but me, and that's a tough enough job.
Well, and Byron Katie says, that's one of the big things is turn it around. I want my girlfriend to accept me with all of my flaws and all of my, they say your warts and your scars and your whatever.
Yeah.
Well, then you turn it around. Well, I want to accept her that way as well.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's a hard pill to swallow.
Very hard.
So it's difficult to say, I want them to accept me and to accept my baggage. But then when you turn it around, you say, oh, well, I want to accept their baggage as well. And you go, ooh.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's just not true.
No.
Because you don't. You don't want to accept their baggage. And that's the same way that they may be feeling towards you. So it's very difficult.
It is. It's really difficult. I mean, sometimes sometimes I just kind of know. I mean, when it's time, it just kind of, I feel certain that it's time.
Right.
And I say, well, if I'm not sure and there's nothing forcing that decision, then maybe it's good to wait until I am sure.
Yeah.
So there's that.
And sometimes, like with you, time and space.
Yeah.
You know, back it up a little bit. You know,
Time and space.
get some time and get some space, and see how things go then. And sometimes that'll work. And you know, a lot of people do that. You know, maybe they're not living together, so maybe they say, okay, we're gonna have a date night twice a week, or we're gonna Skype or call, you know, only a couple times a week and not every night, not 3 times a day, or whatever it may be. And that time and space gives you an opportunity to sit back and look at you and breathe and get that sigh of relief and say, okay, now, you know, am I missing this person, or do I feel better that I'm alone and I'm happy and I can lay down and read a book, or I can go out and go on a hike or whatever. So
Well, and I've always looked for external validation. I mean, I've been one of those people that have been I want that love to come from someone else to make me feel good, you know.
We all do.
Please make me feel good about myself. And it doesn't work that way. I mean, it's like a temporary Band-Aid. You meet somebody new, you fall in love, you feel all these great things, and then like, you know, a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year later, you're like, ugh. You know, but it's not their fault, because it's not about them.
Right.
And that's the big thing. Relationships are not about them, they're about you.
Yeah.
You
The
know,
self-esteem
really
prophecy
hard for
talks
me.
about that.
Does
Do you
it?
remember that?
No, I don't.
It's the part where they talk about your control drama. And if you're with someone who, if you're a half a circle and they're a half a circle and you come together, well, you're a whole circle, and for a little while that feels great. But what you're doing is you're cutting off your energy source from spirit or the universe or whatnot, you're getting it from the other person instead. And then when they realize that, hey, this person's taking all my energy, they cut it off. So now you've cut off your energy from your higher source, they've cut off the energy from the relationship, and now you're drained. And what result is fighting, arguing, bickering, control issues, and all of those things. And the Celestine Prophecy, which we'll put down at the bottom of the screen, really talks about that a lot, and how you have to have your energy and your strength, your love, however you want to interpret that word, from a different source, which for you and I know that's our higher power. That's our higher, or not our higher power, our higher self.
Yeah.
And that's where we get that energy from. We don't, you know, ultimately we try not to, very, very hard, we try not to get that from someone else, because it needs to come from us, from our higher
part
self.
Of learning to love the self.
You're right.
And you know, it's like, and here, this is a problematic statement, but I'm going to make it anyway, because it's one of the things that I learned was, well, are you trying to accept something about the other person that is simply unacceptable to you? And I make that as a problematic statement, because that's really hard to decide that. I mean, is it really unacceptable to me if she does X, Y behavior? Is it harmful to me, or I'm comfortable with it? Is it something that makes me need to look at something that I do or in myself, or is it really something that needs to, you know, is a bad thing that they do that's harmful?
Right. In my case,
hard.
And you know the kind of the backstory of this, which I'm not going to go into, but in my case, did it violate the values that I was brought up with?
Oh yeah.
And
And do you want to keep the values
exactly?
you were brought up with?
And that's where I ended up. After so many times of hitting this issue head on, I really had to look at the values that I was brought up with and say, you know what? That's the problem.
Yeah.
Not that they're doing this XY behavior, but that I was brought up that it's not right, and to not be comfortable with it, and really for no foundational reason.
Just because that's what you learned.
That's because that's what they believed, and that's what they taught me, so that's what I grew up believing. And I really had to challenge those beliefs and change them, ultimately. And I think it helped a lot in a number of ways, in a number of situations and issues. But yeah, that's sometimes the problem is the beliefs and the things that you were raised with.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that brings up, it's true, and that brings up a point. It's like, not to get all rational choice here, but you know, if you're in a situation where the person feels like they're draining you, or the energy is being drained from you more than it's filling you, then that may be an indicator as well. Especially if you feel like you're not learning anything for your own self journey
Right.
in the process. So it really is. It's a hard question because it's all about you.
Mm-hmm.
You know,